Hey guys, Tyler here. So this is us ranking our top 25 games of the last generation. If you guys missed the previous episodes, go back and check them out. If not, hope you guys enjoy this next part. Love you guys. See you later. All right, well, moving on back to our list here. We're now into the top 10 for games of generation. My number 10, Gables, Doom 2016.
Yay!
Love, adore this game. Game that like I had no expectations for whatsoever when it came out, and I remember like it was a game I was gonna pick up anyways, or I was like strongly like it's like I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick it up because I love Doom, and I was like I was hoping it's good, and then I ended up like getting it.
Yeah.
I won a Twitter contest and I got it for free from Amazon, so I
Nice.
ended up getting it that way, and yeah, like ended up playing it. It was just like it was it's phenomenal. It's so great. And it's just like it led to like I remember like years like 2 years later, 3 years later, we're jumping into like we're so excited to play Eternal, and it's just like we're still like so pumped coming off the high of that game. And it's just like
Right.
it totally re-energized first shooters. It totally changed the game. First person shooters. I thought about Wolfenstein 2. I love that game as much as I do because it basically just took the fast-paced action of Doom and incorporated into Wolfenstein. It's just like they they just made a modern day Doom game like we never thought was possible. Where like, you especially come off of Doom 3, where it's like it's Doom but it's scary, and it's like no, this sucks. We want to play Doom. We want Doom. Doom is Doom. You know, it's just like all right. It's like we haven't seen anybody really do it the way that they do it since then. You know, it's like no one does it as fast as them. No one does it as crazy as them. No one's fucking like everything. The world building, the characters, the enemies, the story, the music, everything ties so well together in this game. Where it's not like it's all. Gables is smiling. I have a feeling number 10 is also doomed for him. Uh, and
Oh no, it's not that. It was just something else. But carry on.
okay, sorry. You made the same look. You I when I said number 25 was at the same game. Anyways, but it's just like everything just encapsulate to make Doom, and it's like the best game of that version. It's not like we're not just doing shit for the
Yes.
sake of doing shit. We're like yeah, the multiplayer sucked, but it's like whatever. It's just like no one gives a fuck about that. We played the campaign, and it's so fucking awesome. It's so badass. So like yeah, like the biggest issue with that game was like the last third of it, but it's still the gameplay is king of that game, and it's incredible. That's my number 10. Gables, what's your number 10?
Okay. I had to get my composure a bit, because
What was so funny? I don't
uh,
understand.
no. As you were talking, I'm like, all of a sudden all of a sudden I hear my mom out there and she rips a goddamn
Oh
fart. It's
god.
like a goddamn girl. It's like what the.
I was like, I'm like, did I just say something stupid? I was wondering. Oh, that's funny.
I was like what the fuck.
Gables blaming
You
his
could be dead silent, and all of a sudden you can just hear someone in the next room making gorilla biscuits. Jesus.
gorilla biscuits. What?
Anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. That's just a term I'd say. Anyway, number 10. Okay. Number 10.
It is too
Um,
late. It is almost 2 in the morning for you to pull out
I
a
know.
phrase, gorilla biscuits.
And now you're going to be thinking that shit. Like, what the
I
fuck does
was
it mean? It's like, number 10 is Celeste.
very nice, Gables.
Dude, this game, when I initially had the chance to play it, got the initial chance to experience its tone and like a lot of the other types of ease in use and stuff. I started to really fall in love with this game because it's such a awesome
Mm.
experience. It's definitely like one of those type of platformers where it's simplistic in nature, but yet it casually just encourages you to get better. And it's like, hey, don't worry about that. Go ahead and try again and do it this way and that way. And so what progressively starts off as, a little bit more daunting starts becoming a little bit more encouraging, and then all of a sudden it's like you start dying a couple different times. It encourages you some more, and so you start trying a bit more, and you get better as a result. And as you're going through experience in the game, you experience the story as well, which is like It's like a girl that deals with a lot of anxiety and a lot of inner turmoil and stuff with herself has
Madeline.
to face off against, yeah, Madeline has to face off against herself too, as well as crippling, along with dealing with crippling anxiety and stuff. And a lot of this game is quintessentially her going through these battles and then realizing to accept herself for who she is, and then go through and learn from her mistakes in order to evolve to like the highest peak. So it's like she has to travel on this mountain to get to the highest range of this mountain, and by doing that she has to confront herself, her inner demons, and try to get everything else all out of the way, little progressive steps at a time. But she comes to realize she can't do it alone. She has, you know what, you can't do everything on your own, and so you have to rely upon your friends and also the people around you in order to support yourself, to encourage you in order to get to this higher frame. And I felt the story, and I felt a lot of what it was went to accomplish and stuff hit the mark exactly. And this game came at a time in my life where I felt very low, but at the same time, this is one of those motivating type of games that help go through and see things in a different point of view, a different light, in order to encourage you to get better, and also encourages you to, like, honestly play to a specific extent and stuff like that, to where you can easily overcome adversity and keep on battling by moving forward and not really like dwelling upon the past. Sometimes you got to look in yourself and you got to work on issues, and you have to get things going on to the right step.
Very,
So at number 10 is Celeste.
very cool. My number 9, Celeste.
Oh God, here we go.
You encapsulated it better than I could. Yeah, you're right. It's just like, it definitely is just like, yeah, Madeline just trying to, Madeline, trying to get up to the Celeste Mountain, and just like, yeah, she's like doing this to like prove to herself she can do this, and like not give up. And it's just like you said, like, yeah, like she can't do this on her own. And yeah, like there's a whole chapter of her, like she's literally facing herself. And yeah, like this, it's such a brilliant, well-made game. But it's like also the fact that like the story is, I feel like, it's a deep story, but it's not like, it doesn't need 20 hours of cutscenes. It doesn't need all this. It's just some text blocks, and it's just like, it's the music in this game is so great. Where it's like there's times where like, you know, like my anxiety gets the best of me. And it's like I put this soundtrack on, and it helps. And it's like, it really does. It's like it is like my go-to thing, where like there's days where like you had a bad day at work, or like I'm having a bad day at work currently, like, you know, at that current moment, it's just like, or like I get home from work and I'm just sitting there, and it's just like I just pop that fucking soundtrack on. It's just like it helps, and it's like, it really does. And it's like, you know, that's a personal thing for me, but it's like I wouldn't be surprised if that's for a lot of people. And it's just like I feel like this game probably touches a lot of people, like on a, maybe not like that exact, obviously that's exact same scenario, but like there's probably a lot of people that like feel that way, and it's like they do a good job of like encapsulating like this story of anxiety into like a mountain, you know, like this, that mountain is like you battling your anxiety. And just like some people just can't get out of bed some days, and like some, you know, climbing that mountain is the equivalent of like getting out of bed, or going outside, or going to the store, or just doing anything in general. And it's just like they do such a great fucking job of that. And it's phenomenal. It's just like, it's such a hard topic to like, such a point where like you do it in a bad way, you do it in a cheesy way. It's just like, oh, it's just a fucking corny like thing they're trying to do to like, oh, it's anxiety, so people will buy it. Or it's like they do it and like they don't hit it just right, and it's just like you took a big swing and you failed. And it's like, no, they fucking, you know, going back to a baseball term, they hit a fucking grand slam on this one. And it's yeah, everything that I think it's Matt Makes Games, or whatever his name of the studio, whatever he does next. He also, he made that one weird it was like a Ouya game. It came to PS Plus. Towerfall, yeah. He made that too. So it's just a weird, it's a big change for him. But yeah, that's my number 9, Gables, is Celeste. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Now, this is definitely the pinnacle of one of the best music-based games that I had played during the last generation. And that is because of, not only is it blend one of my favorite soundtracks of the entire series of Persona in Persona 4. But it also incorporates a story that complements after the events of the game itself. On top of that, it also like has a whole bunch of different types of themes, a whole different types of like self-motivation, self-improvement type of stuff with the specific characters, and in terms of like the whole conflict in of itself with like some of the characters that are inside of the story, like say with Kanamine and stuff. She has to kind of go ahead and overcome a lot of like the anxieties, adversities in that regards. But you have the crew of Persona 4 there, obviously to help as like say backup dancers and this and that. But it's like with the other Persona game, this Persona dancing games, to where the music is so goddamn enjoyable and so replayable that it actually puts it on like a chunk higher than that of the other games. And honestly, I did like the story aspect, even though there were times playing it on my Vita and even on my PS4 where it's like, yeah, I can understand there's a little bit of fluff here and there, but at the same time, it wasn't boring at all. It was fun all the way through. And I got to share even more time being with like some of the characters I did like from Persona 4. And so a lot of those character expositions and stuff like that alongside of what I had to go through and experience with like each of these dance, like these pop stars and stuff, what they're going through, and a lot of this other stuff with the this midnight channel shit from Persona 4. Man, yeah, definitely a fantastic game.
Nice.
So that's it.
Very cool, Gables. Moving on here to number 8. Number 8 is Hyper Light Drifter. We just talked about not too long ago with like Solar Ash and everything, but it's like a game that I've talked about before. Like I didn't even know this game existed, and it was just like a trailer for it popped up on the PlayStation YouTube account, and I ended up just checked out the trailer, and I was like, I went from like not knowing this game existed, and it was like a Saturday, and this like, oh, this game's coming out Tuesday, and it's like I can't wait to play this game kind of thing, and just checking it out, and it's like it's so weird because it's not a game that like would normally speak to me, like as far as like it's a very difficult game. It's kind of got kind of that get good mentality of like and also like it's a lot of dashing. You're gonna die a fuck ton. It's not souls like where like you lose souls and you have to go back and get them, but it's just like it's very like it's forgiving in the sense where like you die, you're not gonna lose an hour progress, but you're gonna lose some progress, and you're gonna like it's more about just getting good and getting better, and like these boss fights especially where like you're gonna die a lot in these boss fights. But it's like I was talking about in our last episode we did where it's linked to the past but in a modern day set, like a modern day gaming where it's like it's all about like you have a gun but you also have your sword you use, but it's just like about dashing correctly and like getting like it's incredible how like good people get at the dash, where like people can dash. There's like a trophy for like dashing like 100 times in a row. Like you gotta hit it in like a rhythm. And it's like I'm struggling to do like 5, and it's like just how great people can get at this game. But it's like, yeah, it's a combination of like the art style, which I love, the music, which is phenomenal, and the gameplay, which is top notch to me. Where it's like also like the story in the world is kind of confusing in a way, but it's like I was so fascinated by this that like I like in the middle of playing this, I watched like IGN or somebody did like a mini documentary about and went and interviewed him and talked to him and stuff like that. And he's like the main guy from this game. I can't remember his Alex Preston, I want to say. Sounds right. He's the main guy from the game. He does like the art. He was an artist before this, and he did the art, and he's the main guy from this game. He's the main guy from Art Machine. And the name of the studio and then kind of the story behind the game is about him, and like he actually was born with like a heart disease, and he's like in and out of the hospital a lot, and like even like recently he was just in the hospital. Like he posted like on Twitter of like him with like the what's that called, like the thing with like the IV on it. He was like walking around with the IV in his house. Like he's had a stint in the hospital. Like he's always, and he has a dog that has like a heart issue as well. And it's just like, and it's a game about like this character that's like coughing up blood, and like you don't really know what's wrong with him, but he's injured. He's dealing with something. But he's like the game was kind of built and based around him, in a way where like this character is dealing with like a disease that's like slowly killing him, and he's just like, I don't really know, like this the story in the world, like you really learn like the story's not told to you. It's more about like you go through this world, you just kind of explore this world, and like you kind of piece things together yourself in a way, but it's still very like it's not told to you. It's just like, oh, okay, something happened here, and it's like, but I don't know, it's very fascinating. It's like, I don't even know if like I don't know if he's ever fully explained what that story is either, but yeah, it's so well done. It's like it's another one of those games where like I can just pop on the fucking soundtrack and play again. Like I bought it 3 times. I have the physical edition on PS4. I have the digital edition on Switch and PS4 as well. And they just announced the Switch, like a limited run version that's coming to Switch. That comes with a bunch of other cool shit that's on Best Buy right now. And I am so badly trying not to buy for the 4th time. But yeah, Hyper Drifter is my number 8 game of the generation. Gables, what's your number 8?
All right, so my number 8 game is Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Oh wow, okay.
So, in my mind, I had to decide which Pokemon games I wanted to go through and like rank them. Obviously, it's like I had X and Y, and then you had like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Then this game, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And the reason why it's so high up over those other Pokemon games is because of how much enjoyment I got out of experiencing the Hoenn region again, remastered, with a bunch of like ease of life improvements over the original games, but at the same time, there were a lot of fun elements that were added in. Not only did we get like new Mega Evolutions to like classic Pokemon, so like Blaziken, Sceptile, and like Swampert and stuff, but we got like new types. We basically got like new Pokemon, like trainers, new different types of like mini games. It's like a surfing mini game that you go through and like transfer from one island to the other. There were definitely more incentives for you to complete the Pokedex, which I did complete Pokemon Omega Ruby's Pokedex. I spent like over 200 hours playing that game. These remakes were fantastic, and honestly, they're just under like the quality of remakes like they were for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It was almost to that level, in my honest opinion. Only like some caveats here and there, but at the same time, it was fairly enjoyable. The graphics looked fine. Obviously, using like the classic teams like I did and stuff, it just made the experience more worthwhile. But yeah, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I feel, are the best Pokemon games from the past generation. And quite honestly, if any of you guys that are even looking into getting the 3DS or own a 3DS, but you want to know what Pokemon games to actually invest in first, do yourself a favor, get yourself Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Definitely great experiences.
Very cool. Moving on to my number 7 here, Final Fantasy VII Remake. My number 2 game from 2020. I talked about just once again just on the last podcast we did, but it's a game that came out. I had for years. I mean, after I announced it, I'm like, I don't care at all, and it's just like I don't know what it was, but it's just like I think it was just kind of like we were in that kind of a dead space there, and it was like also the beginning of stay at home and lockdown and everything like that. And it's just like I need a game to play, and I popped. I've been buying this the day it came out, and it's just like sat down and like after it was a couple hours. I'm like, all right, I'm not feeling it, but it's just like I don't know, a little bit. It was like I was in. I was totally like all in with like Cloud and Barrett and Tifa and Aerith and Jesse and Wedge, and I was just like I fucking adore this goddamn fucking world and these characters. It's like I know it's like I don't have any backstory, don't give a fuck at all about the original Final Fantasy VII. I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to have anything because I know they're changing, like they're making their own. It's a remake in a lot of ways where it's like it's a remake of the original game, but also they're changing a lot of the story and tying in some of the stuff that came from the movies and the side games into this one. But it's just like I don't want to play anything. I don't want to know anything else than I already know. I don't want to be fresh going into this. I don't want like a different story in my head. But it's just like it's just the music is phenomenal. The gameplay is wonderful, and it's just like I, as someone that doesn't play JRPGs anymore, doesn't give a fuck about them. It's like someone that like growing up, JRPGs was like my jam. That was the thing I played. It was Madden, it was basically sports games and JRPGs. That's where I played. Uh, in Donkey Konga. That was it. And now it's it's like as I've gotten older, I've become an adult. It's like I've fallen off of that very hard. Outside of like sometimes nostalgia trips, like it's getting this and like for a month. This was like I put over 40 hours of just me playing this, doing all the side content and everything, even like the stuff with like the cross dressing stuff. It's like it's so weird and out there, and like with the cloud getting a hand massage and like wearing a dress, doing the stupid dance thing. And it's like it's so fucking well done. It's like it's so great, and it's just like I hope to God that they don't fuck this up because it's so easy and like I so expect Square Enix to fuck this up because that's just I mean Square Enix can't do anything. They're so fucking weird about just case in point, Kingdom Hearts, Phil Jackson's triangle offense. Like they're just so fucking weird about what they do about things. It's like it's so easy for them to like the bungle this whole thing. And it's so great. I love it so fucking much. It's number 7 for me, obviously for a reason. But yeah, I can't wait for the PS5 upgrade to come out in June, so I can play it again and also play the DLC that's coming out for it, Intergrade. But yeah, my number 7, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Gables, what's your number 7?
Doom from 2016.
Oh, look at that! Look at us go! All right, I think is that 5 now we have in common.
I think
I'll count. Go ahead and talk. I'm sorry.
With Doom, it represented a time that I never thought I'd actually experience, and that was me playing through and having a game of Doom click. Because up until that point, I'd seen various gameplay of classic Doom and stuff, the original one on the PC, plus on other types of platforms and stuff. People really enjoy like Doom 1, Doom 2 especially. But I never really got like why people like this game up until I decided to play Doom 2016, and this was one of the contenders of Game of the Year during that year when it released for me, because the power trip, the whole overall pacing, the fast gameplay, everything else makes you feel like a badass. You're gunning through demon after demon. You're taking out all of these hell spawns and stuff in order to take out like quintessentially one of the recurring final bosses in the series, which is like the Spider Mastermind. This damn gigantic fucking brain with like this freaking these metal legs and all those other shit. It's like it's mindless fun. There is a underlying story with a lot of interesting elements that is hidden away that if you actually forget about or don't even pay attention to, you would be missing out on something else entirely, because some of the story elements inside Doom 2016 is interesting in my honest opinion. But the fast-paced gameplay, the fact that you could do all these various trials and test your skills in that regards, I played the entire game on an easier setting, because honestly, as much as I like first-person shooters, I have to be eased into getting better at these games. Because even though now I feel a lot more comfortable in terms of playing first-person shooters, be it Destiny or be it something else, during that time, it's like I wanted to enjoy the game for what it was worth, and it was worth every fucking penny. But man, the leveling up things for items, for your armor, for this and that, the fact that you can go through and just collect all these different animals from the BFG that you get to use maybe once or twice throughout the entire playthrough, the awesome experiences of that, on top of just laying waste to the final boss and getting all that shit done. This, in my honest opinion, is the best first-person shooter to come out in the last generation, because of how awesome I felt just playing through this game, how it makes you feel good how it rewards you with trial and patience and stuff like that if you stick with it. And also in terms of challenge, if you really want to go through and just go out guns blazing and stuff like that, crack it up to like one of the highest difficulties, and then just have at it there. There's a lot of hidden secrets, a lot of hidden collectibles and stuff. They're like little Doom figures that you can collect here and there. To like
Fist
finding
bumps one of them.
like hidden, yeah, yeah, and even like finding the hidden levels of like the classic Doom hidden inside there. There's so much love and attention Bethesda paid in order to satisfy fans of the franchise. And quite honestly, it is number 7 because it is one of the best games to play, period, on last generation hardware. Either PC, either PS4, Xbox One, or even Nintendo Switch. I played the game through twice on PS4 and on Switch.
Okay.
Both were quality experiences. Very few times, if I ever play a game, I want to play it on another platform. And this is one of the few. So, yep.
Very nice. Very cool. My number 6, Gables, Uncharted 4.
Hey.
Yeah. Wow. What a game. It's like I really enjoyed the Uncharted games, the first 3, back in the day. They were top-notch game of the generation style games. And it's like I feel like each one built on top of each other and got better and better and better. And it's like 4, it's just like I feel like that's when like really like Naughty Dog became like they made good games, but it was like I felt like the storytelling is like really Last of Us I guess came out before that, but it's like you can kind of see like I always like that's when I felt like they built their games built upon each other, where like they would take things from the previous game and do things to build upon it. And you see that with like Uncharted 4 with like the rope, and then Last of Us Part 2 had the rope. Right. Things like that. And it's just like we've seen with like Uncharted 4, it's just like with Nathan, like this is like it's called A Thief's End. Like I felt like for the first time, like this entire game I'm playing through it, I'm like I felt like Nathan could die at any point in time. It's just like I felt like it was just like one of those games where like you really felt like anything can happen. And it's like but it's like anything can happen, but also like the fact that like you give a fuck about Chloe and you give a fuck about Nathan and his brother, and like all the, like you actually like care. It's like it's so cool. Like his brother jump back, coming back, and like him like telling these tales of like things you've done in the past with Nathan, with Uncharted 1 through 3, and then slowly coming back, and like the beginning of like the heist and the with him at the party, and like playing Crash Bandicoot on the couch, or walking through the attic and like taking a stroll down memory lane of like looking at statues and things you've taken from your previous adventures, and him just trying to be a normal guy, and then like his brother sucks him in for one last job, and just dealing with that whole story of like him and his brother, and like as you learn the backstory and everything, it's like it's top notch. It's like Naughty Dog to me is like they're the best of the best when it comes to like set pieces, and it's not Call of Duty. It's like it's Call of Duty, like it's like whatever set people. It's but it's like they do a good job, like it's kind of like it's not like over the top, like like a whole city's falling kind of thing. It's like this one that actually kind of makes sense. It's not like Uncharted 2 where like it's a Scooby-Doo ending, or it's like a like the Uncharted 1 where like when the ending where like it's like a quick time event type of thing or whatever. Like it's like actually like they did a good job of like this whole process where it's like it felt like everything came together for Uncharted 4 for them. Like they got better over time. They understood this character more. They knew the story they wanted to tell. And it's like I miss Nathan Drake as a character. I miss those characters so much, but it's like I would love to have a new Uncharted game, but it's like I don't know if like it ended so well, so perfectly. It's like I don't know if I ever want another, even a prequel. I don't know if I ever want anything to ever like try to touch that and try to mess up. I think what might be the perfect way for like this franchise to end. What about you, Gables? What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Super Mario 3D World.
All right, very cool. We are now up to 6 games in common.
Let me tell you something, man. It's like 3D World, even after playing and reminding myself of this game, getting it for the Switch, and then playing a little bit in that regards, it reminded me how much time I spent and how much enjoyment I got out of playing the game initially when I was on the Wii U. It's one of the few Mario games I can remember in quite a long while where even after going through and completing certain aspects of the main game, there were a lot more challenging courses that could be tackled, and there was a lot more thing you could do even after the main game. And I credit this game being one of the more challenging Mario games I had played up until that point. And not so more or less in the main game, because the main game you can't blaze through in like a span of like maybe the 3 to 5 hours, give or take, give how good you are at playing platformers. But to go through and collect everything, going through and like getting all the stamps, going through and getting all the Captain Toad levels all done, and even going through and try to get the most difficult level missions on that world you unlock after beating the main game. It's like that was worth it. That was all rewarding. I was so close in beating that last world in that regards before my Wii U freaking system thing corrupted, and I didn't really have the heart to go through and do all that stuff again up until recently. But at this point in time, this game is so high on the list because of how much quality is built inside of this game. It was there definitely was a reason why Super Mario 3D World was considered at one point, in my honest opinion, one of the best games on the Wii U period. But it has the foundation that made 3D Land such a great game, on top of elaborating like courses, a lot of like evolving courses and stuff, a lot of good gimmicks that were introduced, like the Captain Toad levels and this and that. But it had fabulous level design, had great co-op in terms of like seamless dropping in, dropping out and stuff. It was a bummer it didn't have online multiplayer in that regards for you to do co-op, but at the same time, the amount of fun you'd have just completing a lot of these different worlds and then like just feeling good and stuff like that, man, that was definitely such memorable moments to experience playing games that last generation. So yeah, that's number 6.
Very nice, Gables. Hey guys, Tyler here. So this was the end of part 4 for us. Check back next week. We'll have the 5th and final part of our Game Generation podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Love you guys. Bye.